Join your friends, old and new, and play all of your favorite games, new and old, at BGGCon in Dallas, Texas, November 18th through the 22nd, 2026. Badges are on sale now. For more details, go to BoardGameGeek.com/BGGCon or search for BGGCON on tabletop.events. Hello, and welcome to episode 93 of the Board Game Geek podcast, where we geek out about board games, the mechanisms behind them, and the people who create them. I'm your host, Amanda Panda, and for this episode, I have my friend, Mark Peebles. Well, Mark, why don't you introduce yourself to the people?
So yes, I've been streaming now for just coming up to 6 years, which is a bit of a long time actually, I guess. And I started over on Twitch, and I'm still on Twitch. I have got a YouTube channel, and I've recorded a stack of stuff for it, but still not put it up yet. It's how it goes. I've got too many hobbies basically, which is good.
You are a maker.
Yes.
You like to create. You do 3D printing. You do a lot of different things. What other hobbies do you have?
I like building things. At the moment, I've ripped all of our kitchen out and I'm rebuilding it by hand. I'm actually custom making all the cabinets. I've got a big plot of land that I grow things on. It's about half an acre, I think. Yeah,
wow.
So it's probably about that. It's quite a large area. It's meant to be big enough to feed a family of 4. There's only my wife and I, so we got a lot of things and give it to friends and family and things. So that's nice. I play board games, obviously. I own like all of the different types of console. Oh my gosh. I paint miniatures for board gaming. Yeah, just too much stuff really.
You have pets. You have a cat, right?
We have a cat, yeah. Yeah. I like walking when I can. When it's not raining here in the UK. Yeah. As you can hear,
he does have a UK accent, and he is coming to us from London. From UK.
Just outside London. Yeah. It's very nice. It's called the Garden of England. I think it's because we've got a lot of forests and sort of greenlands and stuff around us. So yeah, it's nice.
That's awesome. For today, our main topic is going to be solo games. Now, Mark plays a lot of solo games on his Twitch stream, and I also sometimes play solo games. Now, to be honest, I usually will not play a solo game if I can have other friends around. It is not my choice to sit down and play a solo game if I am home alone. I will do other crafts. I have so many crafts in the wings to do. So I don't honestly play a lot of solo games off stream, but it's really nice on stream because it's a lot easier. And I also play solo games to learn the games before I teach it to other people. But Mark over here plays a lot of solo games on stream as well. And you learn it on stream as well too, correct?
Yeah, sometimes I might try and get a heads up first, but recently I've been trying to find out how quick these games can be to learn solo. And I guess if you open up a book and it's got 20 pages for the solo content, maybe you might be in trouble. I have had a few games recently where some of the solo content is as big as the actual main rulebook, which, as you can imagine, then becomes a little bit worrying. It's interesting. But I guess basically I decided once or twice a week on my stream that I would start doing solo games and showing how the solo games play. And it sort of started out as being something we were doing on the stream. We'd play a game together, maybe play some Board Games Arena, maybe I'd play a solo game. And actually now I'm sort of starting to become quite hooked on playing solo games, even to the point where I've just started a full Gloomhaven campaign on the digital version because you can play it solo. And it also means I can sort of take it wherever my laptop is, and I can even get a little half an hour in at work or something like that at lunchtime, or just after school maybe. Oh, it's good. It's really good.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a whole nother thing, is board games translated into digital games and then having that played solo. That's a whole different topic. But yeah,
100%.
yeah. I like to do a thing called From Start to Finish on my stream where I unbox, organize, punch out,
Hmm.
learn, play solo, and then rebox the game and put it all back together. So I do everything in one sitting.
Yeah.
And those are longer streams, but it's fun, I think, to like see everything, all the steps that goes through it. I really have a good time with that as well. But yeah, if I can have a friend, like Mark over here to come and join me for a game, which we do one Friday a month. We do
Yeah,
stream
that's
together.
our aim always.
Yeah, and play games together on BGA and with the chat, and it's always fun. So I'm very glad that we can do that, especially with the time difference. Like we are around the world. There's people around the world that plays games with us in Mexico, in other parts of Europe,
New
and
Zealand.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess if our biggest one would be if we had someone from somewhere like Hawaii, and then some people from like America or Europe, and then someone from New Zealand, because you're almost a day apart on time zones. Yeah,
that's
and
true.
it's really peculiar to think that in some parts of the world it's for me it's evening, for them it will be morning, and for some people it will be the next morning.
It's
Playing board
crazy.
games online is crazy. It really is.
Yeah, but it's wonderful to meet and get to know some of these people around the world. Man, the internet really brought us together, and I love it.
Yeah.
But we wanted to talk about different types of solo. I did an interview with David Turchi, who is basically the solo mode guy now, different publishers and developers.
I probably played 20 or 30 of his solo mode games, I'd have to say. Yeah, he's done a lot of really good, playable, streamlined solo AI. I guess they're AIs most of the time.
Yeah.
But I guess that sort
AI,
of brings us... Yeah, not artificial intelligence, yeah.
Well, it's sort of. It's like bot. But it's funny when I talk to him, I think he's starting like a studio. Like he'll have other people develop it, and then he'll like go over and look over it, give his stamp of approval and his name onto it, and then they have co-developed or co-designed the solo game, which is very interesting. But that's the name that nowadays you hear when you think of solo, for sure, especially for heavy games. That's a math problem right there.
So I guess the thing is, what is your favorite type of solo game? Because like, not a solo game, but there's a bit like if you're playing in a multiplayer environment or a co-op environment, versus, etc. You've got all of these different types, Euros, you've got party games, but the same thing goes for solo games. So you've got beat your own score sort of solo games, which can be interesting, but obviously you're normally just playing the game and there's normally something slowing you down. Maybe there's a marker that moves around, or maybe they take some of the cards from the market or something like that.
I don't like the beat your own score unless I have a starting threshold. I want to know, am I doing okay? Like my first game, how am I doing? And then if I can beat my score, be better, right? But to not have even a baseline is kind of like, well, then what's the point? I don't know how well I'm doing.
But there is the opposite where you go, okay, right, so I'm playing the game. I think I'm doing really well. I've played this multiplayer loads. I'm playing it solo. I'm getting a pretty good score. And then you go to the back of the book and you look at the little table and it says the threshold is 200 to be a beginner. And you go, I've only scored 160. And you go, what? And then it goes like up to 400 or something. And you're, how am I meant to get to 400? And then you think, hold up, am I playing the game right normally? Is my score really low? So you go and look online. No, everyone seems to be getting about. So sometimes the solo modes can be set really tough for those entry-level score levels where you're trying to aim at.
Game night isn't just about the rules. It's about how it feels to play. The weight of the pieces, the clarity on the table, the little upgrades that make everything click. The Board Game Geek store is built for players who want more from their games, offering premium upgrades like Geek Up Bits, smart accessories, and exclusive designs that enhance play, reduce friction, and make every session more satisfying. If you care about how your games look, feel, and play, visit BoardGameGeekStore.com and level up your table. As a playtester, I think it's because the developers set those levels and don't like blind playtest solo to see what the beginner solo level that has not played it 100 times is. Because I've talked to other designers and I've playtested with designers and they're like, oh, I usually get this, score. And I'm like, how do you get that score? It's because they played it 100 or 200 times. So you're like, okay, you need to dial it back. That is advanced mode. And you just have to
keep them. It can be a little bit
them.
defeating, though.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's not supposed to feel so bad, right?
You don't want to come to the end and go, I think I had a really good game. Look at the little thing and say, I had a really bad game, apparently, to this chart. I'm not even beginner. I don't know.
A lot of games are like that, right? They do have a point threshold to gauge how well you're doing and stuff. Do you often replay the game to get better? Or do you be like, I did so bad, I'm just going to not play again?
Without saying any spoilers, but one of the games coming up, I've done that multiple times with to try and increase my score. And I do feel like I'm getting better, which I guess is the aim of that. You should hopefully refine your gameplay as you play. And not all games are like that. Some games have got quite a lot of luck involved, and you can't really refine that luck element, just the actual play element, the strategy part.
Do you feel that it translates to multiplayer games? You gotten better solo. Does that mean you play better multiplayer? Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
There are some games that I played a stack solo, especially on things like Board Games Arena, where obviously you've got the ability, as long as you've got a browser somewhere, you can do it on your phone, your tablet, on a computer, and you can just quickly have a little game, and you can sort of walk away and carry on doing something else, come back to it in a minute later on, sort of thing. It's very useful, but it does mean that sometimes you could play like back-to-back games if they're quite quick. But yeah. And it will make you much, much better. And then you'll play other people who have not played as many games, and you've got to remember that you've honed your strategy a little bit more, maybe. At least you should have done. Not always. What do you feel about automaton sort of games? I'm thinking here of like quite famously things like Scythe or Viticulture, where there is that automa built in, or like Gaia Project, where you've got like an AI component, an automaton effectively. Do you like that sort of game, or do you find that frustrating?
Depends on how difficult it is to implement them. I mean, the easiest is you flip over a card and do 2 things or 3 things. You don't have to think. You're not strategizing for them. You're just going to follow this list. And then the board state changes. They might block you. They might take some resources that you need, especially cards in the market. And then you have to pivot, right? And it's just like another player. I don't like the ones that are like booklets. There is a couple games, and I won't name them, that are booklets. And you have to, if I do this, then I have to go to this page and then do that. And then it takes longer to do the Automa's turn than your turn. Yeah. And I think that's not good.
you do 1 or 2 things, and then you spend 10 minutes trying to work out through a flow chart how the Automa's working. And they're not all like that. I think if you can simplify it down so it is just a couple or few actions for the Automa, then that makes it a lot better, in my opinion. I don't want to spend 3 times the amount of time I'm spending on my turn for their turn.
It's not fun when you're... No. Yeah, it's not fun at all. I do have to say, a lot of times I call the bot Bob, because I think there was a couple of games that used Bob as the bad guy, as Automa bad guy, and then now he's just Bob. Do you call your bots, or do you call them by their proper names? Because a lot of times they also have names.
I guess sometimes I do. Do you know what? I do always try in a game to try and name everything by its proper thing. Like if a token is called food or wheat or something, I call it food or wheat. And I do know that sometimes I can tell when I'm sort of really focusing, so I might start saying just a yellow cube, please. Because I lose all the names and the theme strips away as I start going, okay, this is quite serious. I need to really think. But Yeah, I guess I try and use the Ultima's names if I can, but not always. It's up to if I've forgotten. I might have forgotten.
Yeah.
If it's on the card somewhere, then I'm probably remembering. If they've taken it, I guess that's one for the designers. They should put the name of the Ultima on the card.
That's true. Usually they don't. It's just in the rule book, and then the cards are just what they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But especially for us streamers, we have to talk about how rude and mean they are, because they're often very mean and very rude.
Have you found that some of the automation-based ones, the Ultimas, I guess, have you found that sometimes you have to play the game totally different than you would normally in a multiplayer? So I've found sometimes what happens is what it's going to do. Like maybe the card comes up and you know what it's going to do for the next round. And you have to actively try and stop that, because if you don't, they're going to score like 10 points and you're going to score 2 points on your turn. So you're sort of playing quite aggressively against the Ultima, because if not, they're going to just run away with the game.
Yeah, I think of that as more strategic play, because you can see what's coming up. And so then the solo mode is more strategic than the multiplayer, because of what other people do. It's a little bit more chaotic. But I'm the type of person that'd be like, okay, so if Mark does that, that would be the optimal play for him. And then this is the second optimal. And I'll be mumbling to myself. I'm like, if you do this and then that, okay, then I need to do this and then that. And then everyone always says to me, I don't know what I'm doing, Amanda. Can you tell me what you're thinking so that then I know the proper way for me to play that you think is optimal for me? And I'm like, no, I can't tell you, but I'm going to play as if you were playing optimally, and then I'll change my strategy depending on what you do.
Sometimes that backfires.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think of, there's a few games out there where people are like, why didn't you do the opening move that everyone expects you to do? And you go, what do you mean, the opening move? And they go, have you not played this game before? And you go, loads of times. But there's a standard opening. What's the classic one? It's a bit like if you get the Loki card in Blood Rage. Mm-hmm. A lot of the time, people expect you're going to play the Loki strategy, that you would never pass the Loki card to someone else, because it would be rare for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's interesting.
But that's you play it multiple times, and you play it with people better than you, and then you learn how they play. Or you read a lot of Board Game Geek forums, and you're like, oh, okay, so I should do that. But I'm not one of those types of players. I will learn the game and play against whoever can play with me, and then I will be like, that's good. Do I like it or not? But I won't be like, I need to be the best at this game. And that's not a bad thing. If you are focused on one game, you love that game, you play that game all the time, now you have the strategy down pat, that's fine. But also, is that a broken game when there's one strategy that beats them all?
Yeah, probably. I don't think a game should have a set path, even if it's just for the first round or 2 rounds. It feels a bit weird if that's the case.
Yeah.
And I've recently, and really just recently, started playing some true solo-only games.
Which is not part of our games list for this episode. No. But yes, there is more and more true solo games coming out, which is very interesting to me.
It is really, like, I just recently also bought a game which was a 2-player only game. And again, that's quite rare for me, because normally in the past I've been buying games for 4 or 5, so we can play them in groups. But so I played Storyfold a little while ago, and I know that one's just sort of reaching people. I mean, in the UK and America, I think you guys have already had it, and we've already had it for a little while. But Europe have only just started to get their Kickstarter versions, and it's a lovely production. It's a lovely story, but it is totally solo. It's interesting, and obviously for me, because I a bit like you, I tend to really only play my solo games on stream, because if I'm not on stream, I'm probably playing board games with a group or with my wife, so it's peculiar. But the idea of me buying a game that I'm just going to be playing on stream, and I like it though. It's good.
Yeah. I don't buy games just to play on stream, but when I kickstart or when I buy a game and I see there's a solo mode, and I'm like, oh, I will save this for a stream, right? And then I'm like, oh, there's so many that I have to go through now. But yes, yeah.
The next one, I've got a little list here that I'm having a look at, and it's sort of giving me reminding me. The one that I find the weirdest one to play solo for me is either a campaign or a legacy game that you're going to play solo. Because quite often, if you have played it solo, you might not want to play it again because you've already seen the whole story, or it's a destructive legacy game and you can't play a game without going and buying another copy or getting a refresh pack or something like that.
I don't think I've ever heard of anyone playing a legacy game, so except for maybe Gloomhaven. That's not a legacy game. That's a campaign game.
It is a campaign, yeah.
I think that's not as shocking. Like it's not like as spoilerly, right? Like it doesn't ruin the story if you know what's coming up, right? But then like it's the same thing. If you've played it in multiplayer, will you play it again? Most likely not.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is so I have no spoilers here, but it is on my list we're going to talk about later on. But I have got one game that I am currently playing as a solo only. I did actually is quite a large Kickstarter. I'm now like thinking, oh, maybe I should have played it like with other people. But yeah, it's quite a large investment for a solo game.
But at least you can pull it out at any time and you don't have to schedule, right?
100%. Yeah.
Now, the OG solo is two-handed solo, right? Where you're playing multiple characters and you're just dealing with it all. That's how, like, alpha gamers really want to play, is that they want to control all of them. It's a lot of how co-op solo also works, right? Is you have multiple characters. And my friend Time Roller also streams. He always does the two-handed solo. His second player is the chat, or Chad, as he accidentally calls. So now Chad, he's playing against Chad, but sometimes it's hard because you might cheat a little because you know what you want to do and you don't let that person, the other hand, do it, right? So what do you think about two-handed solo?
I guess like if you look at some of the dungeon crawler solos and adventure games, so not necessarily saying that's a campaign game, but like an adventure or an exploration-y sort of game, bringing to mind things like Umberside or Truly Death May Die. That's another sort of one where you could play two characters or four characters. It's sort of your choice, really, as a solo player. I guess if it's a true co-op, it doesn't matter too much because you're playing all the characters. But if you are playing it two-handed and there is not necessarily competitiveness, but I don't know. You could play it competitively.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've played a few games on stream two-handed that didn't have a solo mode at all. But the problem with that is, as you say, maybe you're going to be more preferable to one of your hands. Player one's actually me. Player two's sort of not me. Player one's going to get all the treasure. Player two's like being left behind a bit. Yeah, so it's. I think it's a harder way of playing, but it's not impossible. And I think a lot of people will find it fun to be able to play a game where it doesn't offer a traditional solo built-in mode effectively inside the game. But yeah.
And it's a good way to learn it. But the hardest one is when they have asymmetrical powers, and then you have to keep track of it. That one's hard. Yeah.
Especially if they're fully asymmetrical. Maybe they've got their own decks or something like that. So you're effectively playing a whole different game with each hand. Effectively, there's no crossover or similarities. Yeah, it's quite interesting.
Which is why I like Root digital solo versus the analog version. And you get the cute animations and stuff. That's another one that's really good that has been translated to like video game format, right? PC game format. That's really good solo. Yeah.
Have you ever done any solo war games?
I'm not a war gamer. I have one game that uses the war game like rule set, like way to
Yeah.
do things, and I haven't played it yet. But no, I've never played a war game.
So
Miniature
there's
war game, right?
well,
Miniature war game.
it can be some of
Or are you talking
the
about?
coins series, like
Oh,
from
I play
GMT.
coin games.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that effectively is underneath that sort of war game sort of umbrella, I
Okay.
guess. Yeah, I think that's quite interesting because that would allow you to be able to play out a scenario or campaign or something
Mm-hmm.
solo. I think that's quite interesting because obviously, if there's historical data, it's less randomized. You actually know what they're going to do effectively because it happened on the day, and you're seeing what would happen if you changed what happened. So that's quite interesting as well. So if you're a fan of history, that could be
Yes.
something that might be like a historical coin game or war game from something like GMT, as I mentioned. That could be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
only played Cuba Libre, right? The coin
Yeah,
game. I think I've played one other coin game. Very interesting. I don't watch a lot of more war movies or historic war movies or read about it, but it's definitely interesting to my strategic mind of how to
yeah.
deal with things in a warlike fashion, I guess.
Yeah, they do tend to be a lot more realistic as well. Like,
Hmm.
a lot of board games are quite abstracted, aren't they?
Yeah.
But the abstraction seems to be, it's more, you feel like you're really actually trying to take those actions and you've got to make sure your resources are ammunition or, whatever you're trying to do, and moving through trains are more awkward and, you could get injured and there's all these things going on. And you thought, God, I guess it's maybe almost like a crossover of like a reenactment as well
Oh
as a
yeah, that's
solo game.
true. It
Yeah.
is like a reenactment on the board. But then you can
Yeah.
see how if you were there and you changed history, like what would have happened, right? And you
Yeah.
have to think in their view, I guess, in a way, because their strategy. Now you would play them two-handed solo, right? Is there solo
Yeah.
modes for them usually?
Yeah, there's a lot of the coin series have got solo modes built into them now.
Oh,
But
okay.
I mean, some of that stuff's been around like a really long time as well, like 30, 40. Well, some of it's from the 70s. Some of the war game solo
Yeah.
stuff. Solo gaming is not necessarily a really new thing.
It feels like it though, because I
It
think it was
does,
the
yeah.
last 2 or 3 years, especially after the pandemic, right? Where
Mhm.
people were isolated, that a lot more solo modes came into play. And now it's a selling point if there is a solo mode. In the past, it
Mhm.
was not a selling point, it was like you said, tacked on. But nowadays, it is a selling point to have a good solo mode in the game.
Yeah,
Now, do
there's a
you
very large solo sort of community now, I feel.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's
that's
true.
good.
It's so funny
Mm.
because you think it's a solo mode, solo person, but it's a community. So it's a group of
Yeah,
people playing their own games individually by themselves.
yeah. Talking about good games and how did you find this one? I'm having a real problem getting past this scenario or this level or something like that. It's interesting.
That
And
is
again, I
interesting.
think they've still got that group sort of feeling. I mean, sometimes people are playing solo games because maybe you live somewhere very remote. Um,
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's no board gaming groups around you. Maybe your
Mm-hmm.
partner doesn't like board games as well. So you could sort of be in a situation where it's solo games or online only. That's your only options.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
yeah.
it's funny because I play a lot of solo games on Board Game Arena.
Hmm.
As a way to like start my day or relax. And I don't pull
Yeah.
out a full game onto the table. I think just the setup and teardown, takes away from that relaxation a little bit. But like games like a Gentle Rain, right? It's so little, it's so quick and easy. That one would be a great one to have just, with your morning coffee or with
Yeah.
your evening dessert. But yeah, I'll like punch through a couple solo games with my breakfast.
And quite
Yeah.
often they don't take up too much time. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes they sort of help focus your mind. You can
Hmm.
focus your mind on that. Maybe if you've got a lot on your mind or work's very busy or social life's sort of playing on your mind or something like that, a nice clearing game can really help.
That's very true. We have decided to talk about 5 games with the best solo modes, but not in any particular order. Now, these are the first 5 games that I thought of when looking around at my collection. And a couple of them are recent games to me. And then one of them I play online solo in the morning. I have like 2 or 3. No, like 3 or 4 that I'll rotate through solo on BGA. But it's a great little thing to do in the morning while you're listening to someone streaming in the background and you're going to take your turns while eating. I guess it's the new version of reading a newspaper.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's definitely better than doom scrolling.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to start, Mark?
Yeah. So I've sort of chosen 5 distinctly different solo games. In each of these sort of areas, I could have probably changed that game out for 1 or 2 others that play in a similar sort of feel. So my very first one is Black Forest by Uwe Rosenberg. And if you've played Black Forest, it's like a re-implementation or a new version of Glass Road. And it is sort of like a refined spreadsheet game. There's a stack of stuff going on, and you have to sort of try and work out, if I move this token here, I can then move there next time, so the actual location. And then when I'm at that location, I can then take that action effectively again. And you're sort of trying to work out this quite heavy puzzle to try and keep your resources balanced so you can actually do everything you want to do. It's a very, very good game, in my opinion.
I do love the Glass Road. And so I really enjoyed that one. And then I did get to play Black Forest with multiplayers and really enjoyed that too. It is, the iconography is a little tiny. And you need some good lighting for that.
Yeah.
But I agree. It's a great game. Uwe is an amazing designer. Black Forest was also designed by Tito Lorenz. I don't know if he did the solo mode or not, but it's for 1 to 4 players. So Tito Lorenz and Uwe Rosenberg. And I do believe it has been for at least North America. Capstone is selling it. I don't know how it is in Europe. Is it Fertilance Spiel?
Yeah, it is, yes. And that's where he publishes a lot of his things in Europe. Yeah. I think he's either a part owner or not 100% how much he could be like quite high up on the ownership. Maybe he solely owns it. I don't know. But so that's part of his production, that he releases a lot of his games via that
community. Nice. So this game has a multiple, it's a point salad game, right? There's multiple ways to get points. How does the solo mode work? Is it a deck of cards? Are you playing other people's pieces?
Basically, it's sort of blocking you out, moving things around. A lot of Uwe's solo games, or his solo game elements, tend to be something where it adds in the feel of where you're going to, you really want to go and move over there, and that's where it happens to be blocked this particular round, and it's moving around constantly. And so it sort of forces you to start optimizing your gameplay to be able to get as many points as possible. I think Uwe's solo modes tend to be very, very streamlined so that they're not impacting, like it takes a few moments to do their turn effectively, as opposed to something where you're following a spreadsheet, as we mentioned before.
That's cool. So it uses like 1 other color pieces to block everything,
yes.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So that is Black Forest from Tito Lorenz and Uwe Rosenberg. Great choice. For me, I'm going to say another game that it does things similar in solo, but it's so much lighter compared to Black Forest. And it's a newer to me game. I backed it on Kickstarter. Very cute. It's called Delivery Witches for 1 to 4 players. Designer is Eric Rodriguez. The publisher is Undigital, and it is a very cute game about efficiency in moving around the board to pick up these orders and these packages and deliver it to the different homes. And there's a way to upgrade yourself and your broom so that you can fly further and get higher points. It's very, very cute. But it is the first time I personally played a solo game where I put out everybody else's pieces. So you have 4 workers out there, and then the other 3 just moves to places to block you from going there because you can never go to where another piece is. You can't even hop over another piece, or another player piece, I should say. So it is the first time that's ever happened to me in a solo mode that I've played. It does take cards from like the upgrade cards that you want to upgrade your abilities. And it also competes with you on the mastery tracks. So it's very easy. One card shows you where to put the people on the map, shows you which card to take from the market and which mastery track to move up. But it's the first time that a game actually had me move all the pieces for other gamers, right? I mean, they don't have their own personal player boards, but I'm moving all the other pieces on the board. I'm moving all the other pieces on the tracks. And they're just really competing with me for that. So I thought that was very interesting. Easy to do, easy to play. It takes just a couple of minutes, right? You don't have to think about it. But then you're like, you suck. Because you really took the one thing I want and really blocked. It's like, how do they know? It's just, they shuffle the cards randomly. And yet, they have the perfect timing to block exactly where you need to go. And it's like, what the hell? But yeah, it's a very cute game on the lighter scale, but it's really fun. It's Delivery Witches by Eric Rodriguez from Undigital.
My next game is Boonlake. And it's very much a strategic Euro action selection, and it's got like a pioneering theme to it. And you're playing versus the Wise Eminence. And the Wise Eminence likes rushing the game. That's the only bad thing. Well, I guess it's not a bad thing. Boonlake plays very much like Great Western Trail or maybe Maracaibo. And both of those, so we're going around a track or rondel effectively, and you can choose how far you want to move. So your movement's going to be up to 3 spaces. You can go 1 space, 2 space, 3 space, but on that 1 space, you might go, oh, I really need the money. It's on the next spot. And the AI goes, I'm going to move 3 spaces. And you go, oh my gosh, if they hit that point there, the round ends effectively. And then we've only got a couple more rounds and then the game ends. So yeah, it does give quite a lot of sort of tension to the game, because when the Ultima effectively rushes forward, and you can definitely play versus players, and that is their style, their play in that sort of game, where they're moving much faster than you'd expect them to, and pushing the end of the game because they feel like they've got more points. But yeah, that's sort of how it plays. It's very, very good. So yeah, as I sort of said, it is a pioneer themed game, and you're going round this the river effectively 2 times in total. So, and when you get down to a particular gate area, that particular section ends, and we do a sort of an intermittent scoring, and then we move on effectively. But there's sort of a very much a sort of push-pull sort of tension because of that, trying to keep up with the AI, but still getting enough meaningful turns in as you go. So yeah, is sort of like that tempo versus power of actions. Because, obviously you want to stop at all of the spaces so you can play as many cards out as you can. The bookkeeping on it, so the actual, the AI element where it plays is very minimalistic, really. It's just really, it's moving and it's taking some actions. And it takes some cards basically, and it clears out the market effectively, and it keeps on doing that. And the more cards it's gaining, the more points it's gaining. And it's a very, very clever way of doing an AI that keeps you on your toes. You can't just sort of meander down the river. You have to keep on your toes and keep your boat going at full sort of speed effectively, or you'll get left behind.
Never played Boonlake, but I don't know. I feel like when a AI just get so many points every single turn. You just feel like you can never catch up. And what is going on? And what are you missing? It just really kind of feels a little bit defeatist. Like, how did you catch up to this? It's kind of crazy.
You definitely can. I wouldn't go in playing it on the hardest AI setting as your first game. I'd start it on the easier ones and work up, get those points sort of building, and
I
as soon as you're
start on
confident you can
easy.
beat it. Oh, in the past,
on
I
easy.
always used to start on either medium or hard. Always.
Really?
Always.
Oh my
Yeah, and then
goodness.
be like, this is so hard. And I'd be like, it's in the name of the mode I'm playing in, hard mode.
Yeah.
And yet
Yeah.
I would still, I'd still count playing at the hard mode. And yeah, sometimes I inadvertently misunderstand a rule and make the game much harder anyway.
Yeah.
Many times.
Oh man. Okay, good choice. That is Boonlake from Alexander Pfister from Dip Games, and I do believe Capstone is also distributing that in North America for 1 to 4 players. Okay. Yeah. I definitely want to check that out. The one that I like, it's not on my list. I'm just going to talk about it. That I just did was Emberleaf. Have you played that one solo?
I haven't played Emberleaf solo, no.
I haven't played it yet. But that was the one that has the feeling of they're constantly getting 5, 7, 10 points. And I'm like, dude, 1 point, dude. Oh, I got 3 points. And I'm like, how? It's going to laugh me. What the hell's happening? I definitely didn't play it again because I'm pretty sure something's wrong with what happened. But yeah. Okay. So for my next game, I am going to talk about one of the games that I like to play in the morning on Board Game Arena solo. And I'm going to cheat a little and talk about more games than this one. But it's the Guild of Merchant Explorers, or Tagomi, for 1 to 4 players from Matthew Dunstan and Brett Gilbert, and published by AG. So this one is a roll and write in board game form. And what's going to happen is you're going to flip over a card and put those cubes onto your map. And you're going to create villages and you're going to connect cities. And you're just going to flip over the next card and the next card. And then there is these goals, these public goals. There's going to be 3 of them. And there's 6 to choose from, and you choose 3 for each map. But the way the AI works is that once you hit one of these special cards, that your own personal way of putting out cubes, then it covers up the 10 point for getting that goal first. And then later on, it'll cover like the 5 and the next 10 point, for the goals in order. So it's like someone getting there first and finishing the goal, and then you have to take the lower point value. And that's it. That's all that does, because a lot of roll and writes are multiplayer solo, right? And the Guild of Merchants is like that. It's multiplayer solo. You have your own board. And therefore the solo mode is just mimicking what happens to the public goals when people take them and take the more valuable space. And I thought that's really nice. I'm going to say, like, you can translate this to almost every single roll and write game, is that their solo mode is just you playing and trying to get the best points, right? For the guild, it's beginner is 120 points. And then for, I think, normal, it's like 150. That's the goals that you're trying to reach. But I was like, that's so cool because, I'm easy. I can just be like, most of the time I win and I get a little serotonin boost. But I'm just going to say, most roll and writes you can play solo and you're just trying to be
100%
the point value. Yeah. Which is great, which is a lot of fun. But have you played this one solo?
I have played it solo, actually. We've sort of been playing a couple of games back and forth, and it intrigued me enough to sort of play a few solo games to see whether or not if I'd fully understood the rules when we were playing it ourselves. And then at that point, obviously, I can then go, oh, okay, if we play again, I think I might have a slightly better chance.
Yeah, exactly. I felt really bad because I played this with Dave Luza on our co-stream, and I warned him, I play this a lot solo. So, and I did give him some tips and stuff, like, you should make a village in the first round, even though it only gives you 1 point because it helps where you can move next and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was just like, yeah, I felt bad because I played this so much. But that's the whole thing with any game. If you play it a lot, you'll probably be better than someone who hasn't played it a lot.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So that is the Guild of Merchant Explorers, designed by Matthew Denson and Brett Gilbert from AEG.
Interestingly, it sort of leads into my next one. My next one is very much a heavy roll and write, probably one of the heaviest, and that is Hadrian's Wall. Oh, combo-tastic. If you've ever seen Hadrian's Wall, you understand what I mean. There are 413 boxes, circles, and other shapes for you to fill in on your 2 pads that you're working on. That is a lot of boxes, and it's one of those ones where you effectively you're sort of working on multiple different areas. It is set around sort of Roman times, so you can put a gladiatorial ring in place. Maybe you're going to go and build a market, or you're going to make the temple become a little bit more prosperous. You're doing all of these different things, and you need workers to do them. And you're going to be gaining some workers from a couple of cards. You're going to choose at the very beginning. You get to choose one for workers and one for endgame scoring. And then you think, well, I've only got 4 workers. How am I going to possibly be able to check off hundreds of boxes this round? And then you put one worker down in one place, and it goes, oh, you get another worker of a slightly different type. You go down and look in those boxes and go, oh, if I put it here, I get another worker. And it just carries on like that. And before you know it, you've checked off 20 odd boxes or something like that inside of your round. And it's sort of planning this sort of puzzle of trying to work out how to maximize all of your workers. Like for me, if I've got a worker left I've not used, I'm like, no, how can I use it for? I want to use it for anything possible, because I want to use every single resource and worker I've got, because they don't carry over. So you're like, I've got to make sure I utilize everything to its maximum capability effectively.
And
what's your feeling? Yeah.
I really enjoy Hadrian's Wall. It's definitely heavy. I mean, I think the only heavier roll and write I know of is TI, right? Twilight Imperium, the roll and write game. That one's the only heavier.
Inscription. Yeah, Twilight
Inscription. You're right.
Yeah.
It's Twilight Inscription. Yeah, that's the only heavier one. But yeah, I love this game. I feel like I need to blow up the sheets and make it poster size just so I can see everything. I still don't know how to deal with the gladiators. So I just leave them alone. And you can and still win. You don't have to do everything. But yeah, this is a great one. Now, how does the solo? Is it I know we get cards, and so you're basically primarily just trying to beat a threshold score. So they're going to give you some example scores that you should be trying to reach. I think the theoretical max in the game's 110 points or something. It's actually quite a tight game for scoring effectively. I guess the only negative could be that you might end up feeling like you're just playing the same sort of strategy over and over and over. Because I think there's enough cards sort of coming through, and how those orders, those cards come out can change the game totally. But this is one of the first games, and the only game on the list so far, that I have been on BGG actually, and downloaded a campaign that was made by a BGG sort of person over there who'd gone, we can turn Hadrian's Wall into a mini campaign where you've got to get a certain amount of points, and it ramps up, and there's a little story about what you're doing, and it gives you a bit more of a challenge or something else you're aiming towards effectively. It's nice. I like it. Yeah. I mean, I forgot, but I think AEG does that with their solos. They have this is your goal. And then you have to mark it off. And then there's a sheet, a chart where you have to do this. And then, you check it off. And then you try the next thing and you check it off. A lot of different games I've noticed does do that as well in the solo mode. But it's just a new way to focus your mind and look at the game a different way and try different strategies and stuff, which I think is kind of fun. But yeah, Hadrian Wall is great. It does hit you back. I think it's one of the few solos, or I should say, it's one of the few roll and write games that attacks you, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But
Also,
they are literally like breaking you down. Uh-huh.
yeah, it is one of those games as well that you, after you've played, you go, maybe I'll quickly play another quick one now, just to see if I can hone that. What I've just learned there about trying to get a particular section, I've got this working really well. Maybe I'll play again and see if I can get it working even better. Just eke up those points each time you play. Yeah. Very enjoyable.
You have to balance your defense versus your strategy and increase your engine so you can get more stuff, resources, and people so that you can do more things. Yeah, it's such a great game. Agreed. Great choice. Hadrian's Wall for 1 to 6 players, designed by Bobby Hill and published by Garfield Games. Nice. What should I talk about next? I will talk about a trick taker that has a solo mode. And I was like, what? And I'm like, oh, if you think about it, it's a co-op trick taker, which is why it can't have a solo mode. I'm like, could you apply that to other trick takers? And I don't think it works. But because it's a co-op trick taker, you can do a solo mode. So have you figured it out? It is the Lord of the Rings, the trick-taking game. Right now, the Two Towers is out, and the Fellowship of the Ring is out. In this game, it's basically the crew with the Lord of the Rings theme on it, but they did it so well. It's so thematic to the books, and it's a campaign you're going through, and it is so much fun because you're just all trying to cooperatively do this thing to finish whatever goals are on individual characters. A great thing about playing solo is that you don't get mad at the other people for not remembering this thing or forgetting that they can't do that thing until this thing happens, which happens with the crew or with the Lord of the Rings trick taker. It is for 1 to 4 players, designed by Brian Bromere, a Lord of the Rings fan, and it's published by Office Dog Games. Man, the solo mode is so easy. You're playing 4-handed solo, so you're playing all the people. But you only get, I think, 4 or 5 cards for each hand. And there's a deck, and you just refill. So you don't get to see all the cards. You don't get complete full information, which is nice. You're just trying to really strategize with what you see to get things happening with the rules and what the player goals are. Now, one thing that I did not read clearly, and I'll tell you now just so that if you want to try this, is that you need to look at what the setup is for each of the characters and make sure that the starting hand of cards that you're shuffling and giving to to each player includes those cards. So like some characters want, the ring or the white tower or the, whatever. And then you just have to make sure those cards are in your starting hand, and then you can do the setup, right? So any cards that are mentioned in setup will be in the starting deck that you will shuffle and then pass out to the starting hands. It was a small sentence in the setup, but it didn't click with me, and I was like, what the hell, this is not working. But it's, I was asking people, how does this work? And they're like, no one understood that I just did not read right, so I apologize. But yes, there is that. It's a fun puzzle. I do believe a lot of solo games are just that puzzle to get the most points, to be the most efficient. But this one's a great puzzle if you have to control your alpha impulses and not tell other people what to do. Play this game because you don't have to, or play a cooperative game solo because you get to choose it all yourself. But it's a really great game, quick to play. Have you played this one?
Haven't as yet. I don't know why, but sometimes some trick takers, I don't get on with them. I don't know why. I as a younger person, I got sort of like a lot of people do, traditional 52 cards, playing trick-taking style games, that sort of thing with my grandparents. And I played those. But yeah, I don't know. There's a few trick takers I do enjoy, but yeah, maybe I would much prefer playing it as a solo experience. I played the crew all the way through, so maybe I might enjoy like Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings trick taking game, because if it's got that same sort of feel to it, yeah, it might sort of scratch that itch and have that sort of nice puzzle to try and sort of fix.
Especially if you like the Lord of the Rings. If you've read the
Yes.
books, it really follows the books, but you can see parts of the movies as well. But yeah, definitely check it out. If you like the crew and you like Lord of the Rings, this is probably up your alley. But that's the Lord of the Rings trick-taking game from Brian Bromere and Office Dog Games.
Okay, so I was going to do another game, but I'm going to do this game because it sort of follows suit, or it carries on. And that is my first narrative campaign game, a epic dark fantasy, is Tainted Grail. But the second one, so this is Kings of Ruin. And this is a game that I am literally just playing solo. I did the whole Kickstarter backing and everything. And we've not finished playing Tainted Grail, the first one, my group and I. So I thought, you know what? I'll just start Tainted Grail Kings of Ruin. And I think I'm like maybe 10% of the way into the campaign now. So I'm really, really enjoying it. It is a cooperative game. So effectively, you could play as more characters or just the two that they recommend. And I guess you could quite easily sort of make sure you've got some really good meshing characters that work well together. There's sort of like combat, diplomacy. There's a big sort of massive overarching story you can see that's going on. And you sort of pick up little snippets of it as you walk around the map, as you explore things, and you find lots of interesting things. Like there's definitely hidden writing in places, and you find ways of being able to decrypt and find these things. And it's like, oh, and you see this like from very, very early on. You sort of pick up a card and go, there's something like hidden here, but I don't have any way of reading it. And then, it's very, very, very interesting. The only bad thing about it is, it doesn't have definable ends. Like, you're not doing like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. So yeah, I guess you could just carry on playing. So the bad thing is you go, I guess I've got work in the morning. I need to stop now. Or, I shouldn't carry on until 3:00 in the morning. People are going to be annoyed because I'm going to be very tired tomorrow. Yeah, it's the story is really impactful. As I said, it is definitely a dark fantasy sort of game. So there are some dark elements to the game. The atmosphere is just really amazing. I like to, whenever I'm playing like solo games like that, if possible, a little bit of background music. It really sets the mood. Yeah. And of course you're taking everything at your own pace as you're moving along. It's, and it's setting sort of like a broken Arthurian reimagining of the Arthurian story. And, it's lovely. Personally, I have to say I really, really have been enjoying it. And it's nothing to do with the fact that it comes with like dozens and dozens of miniatures for the monsters and everything else. It's nothing to do with that. It's nothing to do with the fact you've almost got a whole like toy chest of toys that you buy with the game. Nothing to do with that at all. But yeah.
So is there goals to reach? I mean, because... Or does the game like push back? Is it the game is hitting you with monsters?
Yeah, you're uncovering. You've got sort of like you start out with a sort of an idea of what you're doing. You're trying to get to somewhere. Okay, so like the very first bit, and you find out this very quickly. You're trying to get to a pass. Okay, you're trying to move further into the island to find out what's going on. But as you go along, it really does feel a bit like a computer game where you sort of go, wow, I found like 6 side quests over here, and there's 2 over here, and I think there's 2 main story quests I'm going on. So you go, now, where should I go? Should I do the side quests first? And then you feel like you're worried you're going to miss bits, so maybe I should do everything. Yeah, and yeah, it's really lovely. You're moving around this map, and the map sort of evolves and changes because it's a card driven map that comes out. If you think of like Seventh Continent, that sort of feeling with the cards coming out. Yes, you've got that sort of feel. And and there are like hundreds and hundreds of cards in the box. So you imagine that there are hundreds of locations you can go to. And, there are upgraded locations. So you can do things that affect the map. And when you go back to that location is not the same. And, and it gives you more things to do or less things, as the case may be. Very, very interesting.
Fun.
It's also one of those games where, you have to be careful because I try not to give away any spoilers because,
Yeah. So the solo mode, is that, like, how is that different from the multiplayer? Probably nothing, and you're just
Virtually
playing
nothing.
multiple characters?
Yeah, its recommendation is 2 players, but there's no reason you couldn't play as 3 or 4 if you wanted to. And there is basically no difference from playing 2 of you playing it or 1 of you playing 2 characters. The only real difference is obviously you're going to be making all the choices, so there's going to be no downtime, just, pure playing effectively. If you're looking for that sort of really grand, sort of massive campaign-y style game where you're exploring a big world, I highly recommend it.
Nice. So that is Tainted Grail, Kings of Ruin for 1 to 4 players. Now the designer names I am going to butcher, and so I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to try their first names. Andrzej, Michael, I think it's Michael, but it's the other Michael. Anyways, Christoph and Conrad. I apologize because their last names, I will never be able to say it properly without hearing it first. But the publisher is Awaken Realms, and that's not a surprise. Awaken Realms do these wonderful, big, story-driven games really well. So, yeah, Tainted Grail, Kings of Ruin. Oh my goodness. How do I follow up on that one? I'm just going to say a whole like chunk of games, but one's going to be my example. But these are drafting tableau builders, and there is many. The one I am going to talk about is Cascadia, but if you look at Flat Out Games, there's Cascadia, there's Calico, there's Verdant. Cascadia is coming out with a bunch of different games like Alpine Lakes, and all of these games have that similar, you're drafting and then you're putting it into your tableau in order to get the most points based on how you build it. There's other games by other publishers out there as well. So the great thing about the way that Flat Out has done their solo mode is it's very easy. All what that happens is the rightmost thing that you draft from the market gets taken away. Everything slides down, it get refilled. So you know what's going to happen. You know you need to get that before it goes away if you really need it. But then the timing might not work out, right? But it's so simple. It makes it quick and easy to get this played solo. Lovely, lovely puzzle for your brain in the morning or in the evening to relax with. But that's Cascadia for 1 to 4 players. Designer is Randy Flynn, and the publisher is Flat Out Games with AEG Distribution. And yeah, it's a great one. I think they do it. They did it a great job. I feel like if there is a drafting tableau builder that does not have a solo mode, try that. Just after your turn, take off the rightmost ones, and see how that works. Yeah.
I have to say, if we were doing honorable mentions or a number 6, either Calico or Cascadia would definitely be there. I really, really like and ahhed about putting those as being in this grouping of 5 because those sort of they're very much sort of like that sort of abstract puzzle where you're trying to work out. You go, oh, I want to get every single point that you can. You don't want
Yeah.
any piece to be put down and not being part of the scoring. So you're going, oh, and it's almost impossible. But it's such a lovely feeling when you get, a perfect, well, not a perfect score, but a perfect sort of tableau you've built, a perfect sort of set of tiles you've placed. Oh,
Yeah.
it's lovely.
And
Good
it's nice
choice.
to look
Really
at.
good choice.
You're like, oh, this
Oh,
looks
it's so pretty.
good. Yeah, so pretty.
Lovely.
Yeah, I'll have an honorable mention if you want to think of another one. But yes.
Yes, we can do that. So my last one is a roguelite board game. So not roguelike, but a roguelite board game. So if you're not sure about the difference, I'm sure you probably do know, but roguelike games are you play once through, as soon as you lose, that's it. The whole game resets. You start a game with nothing. A roguelite game is a little bit like Slay the Spire, or in this case, this particular one, which I chose, which is Dead Cells, the roguelite board game. And I actually played this first in a digital format, so as a computer game. Then I went and played it solo on BGA, sorry. Oh my gosh. And then I was like, oh, this does play with. And to give you a rough idea, I think I played it 16 times back to back the very first time I played it on BGA. So I then went, I should probably pick up the board game as well. And it's a true roguelike progression feel. I mean, the reason you can play it so quickly is it is quite tough. And you do progress ever so slightly each time. New things unlock. You might get a new piece of equipment in your deck effectively. And there's very sort of snappy combat decisions. There's a constant risk versus reward sort of tension going on. It is a very, very good game. But you've got to be aware that you're going to die over and over. I mean, if you've ever played the computer game, that's how it works. So it's not for everyone as a solo game. But yeah, if you're interested in roguelike games like Slay the Spire or maybe Monster Train or Dead Cells, if you've ever played the computer version, it's a very, very faithful reproduction of the actual computer game. The digital implementation of it as well works very, very well.
Nice. So how does the solo, is it like a deck of cards or is it just you're just trying to beat the game?
Yeah, you're sort of basically trying to work out what's going on. There's a story in the background. You've woken up with no memories in the game. That's the idea. And you're trying to progress out of the dungeons because you wake up sort of in a dungeon. Bad stuff's going on. Also, you don't seem to have a head, which is also bad. You've just got like a flaming part to your head. And you're sort of trying to work out what's going on. And as you sort of progress, you start finding out more about yourself. And like some of the characters you interact with sort of say, oh, you're back again and things like that. So you go like, huh? Even though it could be your very first play. So you go, okay, so there's something going on here. And it's very fast. So you could quite easily die 2 or 3 times before you even get out the dungeons. You'll get halfway and just be like, oh, that's not what I need to do to win that. And because obviously there's kind of each spot or each space you go to, you're going to flip over a card, but that card's a random card out of the deck. So it could be that it's the really bad one that you just have no defense against, and you go, oh yeah, this run's probably about to end here because I'm about to get beaten up, basically. But yeah, so it's very, very interesting, and there are branching paths. So again, without spoiling it too much, as soon as you get out of, say, the dungeon area, you can then start going down different paths and sort of choosing where you're going to be going. And then you're almost guaranteed end back in those dungeons because you've unfortunately died again. But
I'm
yes,
sure it's quick, right?
He's very quick.
Time.
He's very quick, and the board game is very quick to reset. Basically, you're just you're gathering up all the cards into their respective decks, quickly giving them a shuffle game, re-putting down cards on those ones. When you get to the end and you move on to a new section, either the board turns over or you grab another board, and then you do the same thing. You put all the cards out, and then when you reveal something that's like a combat, you're going to be gaining some monsters, like between, I think it's 1 of 3 or 1 of 4 maybe. And you put them into a row, and then some of them could be behind you, most of them in front of you. And then you know exactly when they're going to activate. So they're going to activate like in phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And your cards that you've chosen, because there's a little bit of deck building going on, you know exactly when your cards are going to activate. So it can be even the point where you draw your cards, look at them and look at the monsters and go, it's going to do enough damage to kill me outright. There is, as a solo player, you do get an advantage. You get, like a sword that's coming around, or an artifact that comes around with you, and it can take some damage as well, and it can do a little bit of damage. So it gives you sort of a little bit of reprieve, effectively, because it can be a little bit like hard.
Punishing, yeah.
Yeah, it can be, yeah. And I think they put that there just to make sure you don't get too disillusioned with the game. But yeah, it's very, very enjoyable if you like roguelite games. Or roguelike games, I guess, really.
Yeah. That's Dead Cells, the roguelite game for 1 to 4 players. The designer, again, apologies, Antoine Bauza, Corentin Lebrat, Ludovic Malblanc, Theo Revier. Apologies, they're French, so I am terrible. But that is from publisher Scorpion Musk. My last one is going to be Planet Unknown. It is a really good polyomino game, but the solo mode, it makes the game more strategic than the multiplayer. In the game, Planet Unknown is for 1 to 6 players. Its designer is Ryan Lambert and Adam Repberg. I do apologize. Publisher is Adams Apple Games. Now, in the game, normally in a multiplayer game, other players are going to choose how the Lazy Susan, the tiles, are going to face. You have little tokens that show which of the depots you get to take a polyomino tile from, but the active player gets to spin the Lazy Susan to choose what tiles they want and what tiles you're going to get, right? But in the solo game, it's just one step. So you know exactly what's coming up. You're going to know exactly what's coming up all throughout the game, like in however many turns, because it's just one step. There is going to be more goals, right, to go for, and it's about getting the most points. So there's nothing really that the game is doing against you, because in the multiplayer game, people are going to see what you need, and they might just take it from you because they're competing with you on these different goals. But this solo mode makes the game much more strategic to play. If you like more strategic puzzles, this is definitely the solo mode for you. Like we've been talking about, there's different solo modes that either like act like another player and take things from you, but this one is just one of those that makes it easy, makes it more strategic, makes you, really think of it as a puzzle rather than kind of back and forth of strategy versus tactics, right? Where you are trying to pivot after someone else has gone. But yeah, I love Planet Unknown from the first time we played it multiplayer. So I was very happy that the solo game is so easy, and it just, helps that it's more strategic, and it's just that puzzleness of it, of a good polyomino puzzle for your brain.
Interestingly enough, the solo has got the same sort of mechanisms as the 2-player game, because it just rotates one time in the 2-player game as well. So,
that's true.
If you play it 2-player a lot, it also will help you hone your 1-player skills, or vice versa. So it does mean that when you do play it for larger amounts of people, you go, oh, I get to choose, not dunk, 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 as it goes around one spot I go. So, you are right. It becomes very, very sort of strategic, and sort of you can definitely see what's coming up in the round. So it's not like you're going to be horribly surprised by what shape's going to come out. But it's another game that I could have easily put on the list.
Yeah.
There's so many good games, so many good solo games.
Is. I do wonder if it would break it if you just draw a card or roll a die and randomly like move it that many times, because then it would more effectively mimic a 3 to 6 player game?
Yeah,
I don't know. And then
maybe.
you could choose on the next turn? Like,
There
that'd be
must be
interesting.
that. Yeah, there must be a reason why they've done the single spots as it goes around.
Yeah.
It really feels like a totally different game.
Yeah.
One of the first times I ever played it, and I think we played it like the Kickstarter had sort of just dropped. It wasn't my game I was playing, but someone else's. And it was one of those games where someone said, "Oh, I can only fit this piece." And so unless you turn it to that, the game's going to end. And so everyone
Yeah.
else was like, oh my gosh, I've got like 5 bits to put down at least. And what's happened? So everyone's going, well, no, make sure you choose that one so they get that piece. And of course, if you're playing solo or 2-player, you don't get that choice. You know what's going to come up, but yeah, there's no real, it's a totally different sort of, there's no bargaining with the game. The game's going to, sorry, it's just moving one spot. You know what's
Yeah.
coming up. You should have planned for this.
Yeah, and this is one of those games where the solo and 2-player plays completely, well, not completely, but feels completely different than
Yeah,
the 3 to 6 player game. There are some games
100%.
where the solo game feels completely different or plays completely different than the multiplayer game. And I don't know how I feel about that, because usually when you buy a game and they're
Mm.
advertising, right, for the multiplayer game, so you're thinking you're getting the multiplayer experience. And then when you play it solo, you're like, oh, I cannot learn this game from solo because it's a totally different play than if you played it with multiplayer.
You can definitely get the feel for the game, but nothing
Yeah.
else. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't feel the strategy. And you can't like learn to teach, right? That way. Yeah. And I don't think any of our games are like that. I don't think any of our games that we've talked about, the solo mode plays differently or feels very different from the multiplayer.
No, I don't think so. I think, all of them, the solo is pretty much, the solo game and the multiplayer game are pretty much the same feel. Maybe that's why I like them like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I really, really do like Planet Unknown. It is an
Yeah.
awesome game as well. Again, this could easily be a 10 favourite solo games or a 20 favourite solo games for me, without problem. Even then,
That's
I'd be
true.
like, oh, how about that one?
Yeah. And it was funny when you were telling me your list. I was like, we have no overlap, which is
No?
shocking because I
Yeah.
didn't think that solo was so big enough. But no, it really is. It really came into its own, and they did a great job of them that we got a lot of good solo mode games out there, or solo games itself. Um,
Yeah.
but that's Planet Unknown from Adam's Apple Games. Now, I have an honorable mention. Do you have an honorable mention besides Cascadia?
Well, yeah, beside Cascade. I probably do. Yeah, I definitely do. What's your, should I do my honourable mention? Or,
It's up to you. Do you want me to go?
no, I can go. My
Okay.
honourable mention is actually pretty much a new game for me. I've only played it a few times solo, but it seems really, really interesting. And that is Suna Valo. And
Yeah.
it sort of means like Sun Valley, I think. Suna Valo is it a solar punk game? I think that's what it's advertised as. So it, as opposed to steampunk, you're sort of building a farming community. And the whole game is about the whole idea. It's sort of set in the future. You're farming, but there's robots that you can build to help you. Effectively gives you end game scoring, some other bits and pieces, and you're trying to deliver sort of orders to different people, either locally to your own people or to a common market area. Effectively, it's really, really nice. That's a 1 or 2 player game. So it's sort of aimed, I guess it feels very much like the solo really does just feel like playing with 2 players. You get the same sort of interactions. It takes some cards, just like the other player would be doing, and it takes some of your cards and sort of buys them off of you, just like the 2 player version would. Oh, it just plays really, really nice. A lovely honourable mention.
Yeah, that's Suna Velo. Now, the base game is for 2 players. The designer is Andreas Odendahl, and the
Mhm.
publisher is Game Builders. But they do have a solo expansion called Suna Velo Solo Modus, which is the solo expansion by the same designer and publisher. So I don't think it comes in the base game, but you
Yeah,
can
my
add
one
it
came with it.
on.
It was
Oh, okay.
inside the box. It was
Oh,
inside
that's
the box. So,
interesting.
whether or not there's different versions or different publications out there, but yeah, my one came
It's
with it
separated on
inside the box.
BGG, so I was like shocked. Okay.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Or
Maybe
maybe
there's
it is
2
inside the
versions.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So check. If you're buying it,
Yeah.
make sure you're not just buying the 2-player version that doesn't have the solos if you're looking for a solo game, or else you'll be
Yes.
upset.
Now, my honorable mention is something that I just played, but it shocked everyone that there was a solo mode. But they
Mhm.
made a solo mode because the community requested it. So many people requested it. And that is Flux. Now,
Oh, really?
yeah, Flux, exactly, right? No
Really?
one knew Flux had a solo mode, but yes, they do. And I'll put a link to like the page for the solo mode into the description of the podcast. But their newest one, Dog Flux, which is so, so cute. And there's Cat Flux for cat lovers like you, Mark. But yeah, it's very easy to play the solo mode. All you do is there's some of the cards, I think action cards that affect multiplayer, like stealing things, changing things.
Mhm.
And their website has a list for every flux that they've made. And you just take those cards out. You take the rules cards out separate from everything else and you shuffle it. So you shuffle the rules cards and that's your automa. And then you shuffle everything else and that's the full deck that you're playing with. And on your turn, you're going to still do the same thing. Your basic rules are to draw 1, play 1, and you start with a hand of 3. But in between turns, you just draw 1 rule card and put it into play. You can have a max of 4 rule cards in play. So one that limits you in some way, one that changes how many cards you draw, one that changes how many cards you play, and then another rule that does not fit those 3 categories. And usually there's the word limit, draw, and play on the cards. So if it doesn't have that keyword on the card, then it's the any other pile. If it
Mm.
matches something that you already have out, you just replace it. Very simple. And then you have to follow the new rules while still trying to complete the goals you can only have 1 goal out there unless the rule says differently, and you're trying to complete those goals. So if you complete 1 goal, you win, but you're trying to complete as many goals as possible. And they have a little cute form you can fill out with, it just asks you which deck you used and how many goals you completed. That's it. And they're just seeing how people do, which is kind of fun. But yeah, Flux is soloable.
Soloable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
easy.
I'm actually having a look now, right? Because we have about 5 or 6 different Flux decks because they're very affordable. They're a very
Mhm.
quick little game. It's really good if you've got someone who maybe is adjacent to board gaming, but it's not really in the hobby necessarily. And it's not quite a party game, but do you know what I mean? But you can definitely get everyone involved. You just sort of do what it says on the cards, and people can play. But yeah, I'm just having a look at the Looney Labs site, and it shows you the average scores and things. And
Yeah, it
it's
shows you the
very, very
average, the
good.
high
Yeah.
score. Yeah, you can see.
Oh,
Yeah, they're just averaging based on what people send them. They do have a playmat so that you can have everything there. The rules of the solo mode, where to
oh,
put everything. The game ends basically when one of the 2 decks runs out, either the rules deck or your main deck that you're drawing cards from. But yeah, it has that feel of a multiplayer solo because the rules are always changing on you, right?
yeah,
And you're very much limited on that. But unlike a multiplayer where you can affect the rules and you can play out rules for the timing, you can't do that. It's just other people changing rules on you. Now, there is some action cards that allow you to get rid of some rules, which might help out. But yeah, it's more puzzly. It's more not strategic, but definitely more puzzly than the chaos of multiplayer Flux, which is what some people like. But yeah, it definitely is a great one to get people, I guess, more casual players
Well,
to play more of these games. Yeah.
I think I'm going to play that solo on stream at some point in the near future.
Oh, you'll have to
Hmm.
show us all of your decks because
Yeah,
there's
I've got
so
a
many.
stack of them. There are. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really good.
You know, the decks I want is the Star Trek ones, the
Oh,
Deep Space
we've
Nine,
got
the Next Gen.
we've got lots of ones like think a lot of people have got things like Basic Flux, and obviously the zombie one was very popular. I think it was everywhere. I saw it for a while, so we've definitely got a
Yeah.
copy of that. But we've got things like the Cartoon Network one. I think we've got the Cthulhu one, and I think I might have the Firefly one as well.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, there's a stack of really good ones out there,
Yeah.
and the Monty Python one as well. Oh, the Monty Python is so good. It just
So
because
funny.
it just like, I think this is why a lot of people play board games. It brings the table together, and everyone can sort of laugh about the cards as they're coming out and what's going
Yeah.
on, and people quoting things from the film and stuff like that. Oh, it's lovely. So yeah, I think
That's awesome.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to playing some of those. It's going to be really, really good.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but there was like such a thing with hobby gamists that don't like Flux, and I'm like, but it's so good, especially with,
Yeah.
casual gamers. And on my stream, I was talking about like, because I went and showed off like across America Flux and around the world Flux, and we talked about
Mm-hmm.
like which places I've been to and which ones I haven't, which is kind of fun. And I need to get Flux the board game to the table and see how
Oh, yes.
chaotic that is.
I can
So
imagine it
yeah.
would be very chaotic. We don't actually have that. It's one of those games where I've sort of nearly picked up quite a few times just because we enjoy Flux. But
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think Flux the board game can be soloed. But you should definitely check out
Maybe they'll
Cat
bring out a
Flux.
Vault for it. Yeah. Cat
Oh,
Flux would be
that'd be
good.
interesting.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. That's a great stocking stuffer.
Yeah.
If someone likes cats and dogs and now they've come out with Cat Flux and Dog Flux. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Surprise, everybody. You didn't know, but now you know. Flux has a solo mode and it's easy to implement and it's easy to play. So still fun. If you enjoy Flux, that is. Now we come to the part of the episode, the moment of positivity, where we celebrate something big or small that's positive that happens in our lives to offset all of the other stuff that happens in our lives. Do you want to go first, Mark, or should I?
You go first and I'll follow up.
Okay. I have been cooking more. I do enjoy cooking. I do enjoy baking. I was on a whole sourdough kick and never really got it to work well. I think it's just the temperature of the room. But lately, I've been just randomly looking up different Asian dishes, right, to cook. My dad was a chef, so I'm very sad that I never really learned recipes from him. My grandma cooked well, and I didn't really learn her recipes either, and they're kind of last, and I'm kind of sad about that. So I'm trying to figure out like my own recipe or like taking recipes to refine that flavor. So the first one I did, it's like a soup dumpling, but you don't have to fold it. It's like a lasagna soup dumpling. It's a deconstructed soup dumpling. I don't know how to say it. I forgot what the TikTok trend is. But basically, you layer out the dumpling skin, the filling, the dumpling skin in like 2 or 3 layers, and then you steam it, and it's really good. And so I was like, maybe that's how I figure out if my wonton fillings or soup dumpling fillings actually taste any good before I actually wrap all of them and and then freeze or cook them. I do enjoy wrapping wontons and dumplings, and I think I'm pretty good at it if I do say so myself. So I've been doing that. I've been making my own filling for wontons and dumplings, and then I've been steaming them, but in the trendy style of just layering the ingredients, then just so that I know the taste of it. I know some people cook a little bit of it, but I was like, I can make a meal of it. So now I have like a big pot of raw minced or ground pork. I put a little shrimp. My mom puts clear noodles, like cut up clear noodles in it and mushrooms, and it's so good. I don't like veggies in mine, so I don't put any Napa cabbage or onions, spring onions in there. But I've been doing that, and then I'll like steam something. I'm like, oh, something's a little off, and then I'll add stuff into it. And I think today after this recording, I'm gonna have to like go through and just wrap them. But yeah, I mean, they're so good. So I'm looking at other people's recipes and seeing what I like about them and mixing and matching different ingredients to find something I like. So I that's my moment of positivity, is that I'm getting back into cooking and finding the recipes that I love and reacquainting myself with Asian cooking.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe when I'm in your neighbourhood again in the near future, hopefully I can, have a go at some of your wonderful cooking. That'd be lovely.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
If you ever come, there's so much good food that I feel like I would just take you to my favorite restaurants, and maybe I'll send you home with baked goods instead.
Oh, that would be lovely. Yes.
Yeah, because we should do a hot pot day. I love doing hot pot days and having people come to the house, and I create a big spread of hot pots. This is what happened before the pandemic. I had a whole big spread. We had 2 pots going, so many different vegetables, and you're just chatting and cooking and eating, and it's a wonderful experience to have with friends and family. I love that. And then we clean everything up. Basically, what I do is I just spread the table with disposable tablecloth. We just scoop everything up, tie it into a bow or into a little package, throw it out, and then we can play games. That's so nice. But yeah, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would love to cook or bake for you. That would be lovely.
Yeah. Well, I have to sort it out. That'd be good.
Yes, please. Yeah, when you go to your Disneyland trip next.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
so what is your moment?
Yeah. My moment of positivity is I recently went down to where I grow all my fruit and vegetables. And obviously here in the UK, we've got winter. And I know that sounds like a weird, obvious thing, but obviously that's not always the case for the Southern Hemisphere. You know, it could be summer there right now, because it is. And yeah, so I'm starting to see the first things I planted back in November starting to grow. So I've got onions and garlic, and all of these vegetables require cold temperatures to start them sort of growing. So they're all now starting to, spring is starting to come. So that's that lovely positivity. I'm sure if you're somewhere where it's cold and you're listening to this, you're probably looking forward to seeing all the trees budding, all the plants starting to sprout, flowers starting to grow, fruit and vegetables, and oh, lovely. It's a lovely time of the year, spring going into sort of early summer. Oh, and it's just around the corner. It's just starting now. It's lovely.
And it's different when you planted something, right? And then you start seeing it growing and thriving. And you're like, oh, I helped life do that, right?
It's lovely.
Yeah. And of course, I'm sure it tastes better than the stuff in the supermarkets that have to get shipped around.
Yep. Yeah, I mean the distance from my house to so in the UK it's called an allotment. You have an allotment of land. That's what they give you, and you can hire it, and it's a very small amount of money, and and you get like a large area to be able to grow your own food if you'd like to, and it's very much seen as being an old person thing to do, but nowadays the allotments where I am, over half the people there are in their 20s. It's becoming a new thing where people are going, actually, I'd like to know where my food comes from. And, if I want strawberries, I'm going to grow them myself, and I'll know when the strawberry season is. And if I'm buying strawberries in winter, I know that they've been flown halfway around the world, and maybe that's not as good for you or the planet as a whole. But yeah, and you are right. It does taste nicer. There's something about, I'm not even sure if it's just the flavor or whether or not it's just because you've grown it. You've put like the time and the effort to nurture that plant, to water it, feed it, and make sure it comes out as being something that gives you your crops. Or it's like a real life board game.
It's Agricola, the life game.
Exactly. Yeah, it really is. A lot of my hobbies are very much like that. I can see I've got 3 ball games that are just like one of my hobbies. So it's a lovely thing.
We haven't made the 3D printing board game, the 3D printer yet, though.
No, I don't think I've seen any games like that.
We've 3D printed games. Well, we
Yeah.
don't have a game
Yeah.
about 3D printing, which is interesting.
Is there a game there? I don't know.
I don't
There
know.
probably is. It's just trying to think of the mechanism, isn't it?
You have to clear blockages, right? There's a time element. Everyone wants you to make stuff for them, and you have to figure out, is your blanket no?
You've got a maker fair coming up at the weekend. You would like to print a whole stall's worth, but you know exactly how long everything takes to print, and there could be blockages overnight. Do you print 20 things or just 2 or 3 at a go? But it's a lot more time consuming. Yes. I guess there probably is a game there. Almost guaranteed.
There you go. A free idea for the budding designer. Oh, that'd be funny if you had to 3D print the board game.
You could do. There is something, I've started backing a few games now where some of the stretch goals are, they send you over the files to 3D print parts of the game. So you can 3D print bits of the game, like a hero or something like that, or some baddies, or maybe some sort of like scenery or something like that, or walls and things like that. And I think we're probably going to see more of that in the future as more and more people own 3D printers as well.
That's true. That's true. It'd make miniature games a little cheaper, maybe.
Yeah, 100% it would.
I mean, I did back a game where you couldn't make the player pieces, the minis. Either you could buy the Legos, or you can get the crochet kit, or you can get the clay kit where you make it out of clay.
Wow.
So it was very interesting. I haven't played the game yet. I want to play it, but I have to make the pieces first. So yeah,
that sounds wonderful. I mean, it brings that maker thing together at the same time, doesn't it?
Oh, it really does. Yeah, but now I'm like, I want the third space, right? The maker space back where you can go and rent tables or stalls and have a space to do like your hobbies outside with other people. I mean, maybe we'll start a knitting circle at board game conventions and knit pieces or crochet pieces. Yeah, that's interesting. Anyways, thank you so much. This has been so fun. Mark, aka MP, aka Mr. Peebles, where can people find you?
So I stream over on Twitch, and I stream at UK times at 7 p.m. for about 2 hours, sometimes 2.5 hours, sometimes a bit longer. And that is at twitch.tv/mpeebles. If you want a quicker way of doing it, you can go to mpplays.com/Twitch or just mpplays.com, and there's a stack of links on there to all my socials and everything else as well. But yeah, so that's where you can find me.
Yeah, and definitely please subscribe to his YouTube so you'll know when all these other videos that are in the queue finally go up. And like and follow, and follow him on Twitch as well. We do stream together on one Friday a month, and it is at 11 p.m. UK. Wait, no, 7 p.m. UK time. 11 a.m. Pacific time, which is 2 p.m. Eastern. If you're outside of those three, you can calculate it yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. We play games on BGA together. You just need a free account to Board Game Arena and you can play along if you're free. And we have a lot of people that join us and it's a lot of fun. So I'll put all the links into the description of this podcast. If you yourself, you listeners, have any suggestions for good games with great solo modes, please put them into the comments. And I would love to see them and maybe find some new games because I honestly have not played any of the games that on Mark's list solo. Well, maybe except for Hadrian's Wall. But yeah.
They're very good. Very good games. I'm going to check out any of the ones that you've played that I haven't as well.
Yeah. So I love that. But yeah, everyone, thank you everyone for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day. Have a good time.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Board Game Geek podcast, produced and edited by Amanda Wong. Be sure to visit us on the web at BoardGameGeek.com. You can also find us on YouTube, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok under Board Game Geek. At Twitch, we are under Board Game Geek TV. And you can reach us by email via podcast@boardgamegeek.com. Thanks for listening and happy gaming.